Ionavation. We out in New Rochelle, Ionavation. Moving with Intel, Ionavation. Now we in the groove.
Hello, Ionavators. Welcome back to the Ionavation podcast. I am your host, Jordan Hill, and I am an intern here at the Heinz Institute. I am also a business marketing major, and my co-host is
Juan Cadile. I'm also an intern here at the Heinz Institute and a computer science major here at Iona College. We're here today with Lendynette Pacheco-Jorge, also known as Lendy. She is the assistant director at Heinz Institute for Entrepreneurship.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here today.
Yes, thank you for being here. So Lendy, first I would love to ask you, what is it that you basically do at the Heinz Institute at first? I want people to get an understanding of kind of what your role is here, because you do a lot in general.
So unofficially, I manage energy. That's what I do. But officially, as the assistant director for the Heinz Institute, I sort of manage all the operations, logistical, fiscal, from the Institute. So in regards to operations, so all of our events, all of our workshop, e-talks, classes, and that kind of things, they all sort of pass through me at any given time, sort of just to make sure that everything is in line. Not only with sort of the timing and the date and the location, but sort of that everything around it is taken care of. So programming sort of gets checked marked by me. And then in regards to fiscal, I kind of sort of monitor budgets and stuff like that, and make sure that sort of everybody's on task. Also, like you guys, the interns working and doing their job, and sort of with that goes the unofficial title of managing energy, because everybody puts in energy in a different format, and sort of everybody gets energy in a different way too. So I like to say I manage energy.
Yeah, I like that, just because that's the way to just say it, even though your job is not easy, like at all.
No, yeah, I mean, part of my job sort of also entails sort of the curricular side, which, you know, I help with advisement for minors and majors in entrepreneur, or sort of guide them in the right direction as well. So it's just fun. Being that we're in a new space, Lendy, how do you enjoy the new space? Tell us about the new space in general. Like, what's your favorite part about the new space? Is it easier to work, more productive? About a new space in general? It's always exciting to have a new space. Always. I love it. Very exciting to be in the new space. I think the most exciting thing about the new space is being on campus. We're right in the middle of campus, and it gives students the opportunity to sort of see what we're doing. It's a very creative space. It's a space that sort of everybody's welcome. It's a space that the energy, again, it's flowing. It's just, you know, you get to do a lot of cool things. You get to experience sort of the classes happening. So whether you're outside downstairs, you actually could see up and see sort of our classes and what's going on in the classroom, as well as sort of how students are interacting with each other on a daily basis and using the space. Yeah, I like that too. You can see the big glass in the middle of campus, like right there. And that becomes sort of vibrant because we are automatically sort of physically part of the campus, right? And even though you're not taking an entrepreneurship class, you could actually see sort of projects developing from the outside. So the hopes is that that brings you in. Exactly. Like, people always ask me where I work, and I just say, like, that big glass building in the middle of campus. It's like right there. Love it.
So Lendy, how would you define an entrepreneur? Are there any specific traits, skills? Are you born with it, or can you learn entrepreneurship?
You could definitely learn entrepreneurship. I think anybody could be an entrepreneur. So if we go back to sort of basic definitions that we sort of say in class, you know, I'm going to go back to what is innovation for us, right? Innovation for us is sort of the creation of something new, whether it is, you know, to meet a new need or to meet an existing need. It's really just the creation of something new. So then we follow up with what is entrepreneurship? And entrepreneurship for us is really sort of the process of managing innovation. So with those two definitions, we could say that anybody could be an entrepreneur, right? Because if you're managing innovation, if you're managing the process of something new, then you could be an entrepreneur. and mainly how we teach entrepreneurship at Iona is really focusing on the mindset. So you could be an artist and be an entrepreneur. You could sort of work for a Fortune 500 company and be an entrepreneur because your work and what is it that you're managing. So it really doesn't matter who you are or who you want to be. It's really, you have the ability to learn some skills to open up sort of your mind in how to solve problems creatively. So I think that's a huge trait of an entrepreneur. I myself don't consider myself a creative, right? I don't go drawing, I don't go making music or anything like that. But because I think outside of the box, I think about solving problems extremely creatively, I do consider myself an entrepreneur. Because it's more about.
No, yeah, you are. So, you were talking about just like traits of an entrepreneurship in general. Just like, what is important for an entrepreneur to have that? Like, what traits are very important for an entrepreneur? Like,
I think having the willingness to learn, right, and the curiosity to sort of figure things out is important, because we're not born with sort of a rule book or sort of just a dictionary that we go around and gives us answers for everything. That's not how life is. But you need to be sort of curious to know what happens next. How could I solve that? If it's a problem for me, would it be a problem for somebody else? How do other people feel about this situation? So an entrepreneur should be empathetic as well, right? To be able to say, all right, somebody else has this problem. How could we really fix it? Or what are the better solutions for that problem, right? It's more about that discovery process that you have to get yourself into that rhythm of doing.
Yeah, the empathy part, I definitely do agree with 100%.
I mean, like if you see sort of a lot of the things that are thriving right now, if you talk about the influencers, they had to sit down and see, what do people want? What do they want to hear? What entertains them, for me to then be able to deliver that to them and get them entertained, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%.
So Lendy, an entrepreneur, as you said, manages innovation, and an entrepreneur is a leader. But how is it to lead a team of entrepreneurs?
It's exciting. It's frustrating. It's all of the above, right? When I started this discussion, I said I manage energy because everybody has a different set of energies, right? I think that sometimes becomes hard when you have to sort of manage a multitude of energy at different levels, right? But I prefer to have sometimes a lot of energy that sort of you shape it into sort of the ball that you need to kind of push out, than having no energy at all. Right. So it's, I have to be creative, not only with schedules, but sort of with deliverables, with, how plans are executed, and then allowing sort of my team to be creative and respond and think outside of the box. So I always tell my team, the worst thing I can tell you is a no. So pose an idea, put it out there. And if it's a go, we could do it. I mean, like the perfect example of that is this podcast, right? A group of students came to me and said, we should do a podcast. And I was sitting there saying, I don't know how to do that, right? But just because I don't know how to do that doesn't mean that it shouldn't get done, right? So they went ahead, did the research, and now it's a successful podcast with many episodes.
Well, yeah, I would definitely agree with you in saying that. I think entrepreneurs do, when working with other entrepreneurs, they bring you ideas that you wouldn't even think of or you wouldn't even know. So like, that's a huge benefit completely.
And that is by far kind of what keeps sort of my job entertaining every single day, right? Because it's, maybe I wasn't thinking about doing it a certain way. Not that one way is right or the other, but sometimes when you want to reach an audience, you need to try different things to see what it is.
Yeah. So, Lendy, do you have any entrepreneurial ventures yourself? Have you ever, stepped out and, I would say start a business, even though that's not what all entrepreneur is, but have you ever, done your entrepreneurial venture?
No, I have not sort of ventured out myself completely to start something from scratch for many different, a lot of them sort of being personal and whatnot. But I believe being here at Iona, being at the Heinz Institute, is like starting a venture because we started this institute from scratch. There was no entrepreneurial spirit on campus 3 years ago. And all of a sudden, now we do have, and I say all of a sudden, but it was a lot of work with people really putting in sort of time and energy to see what's happening in the world and kind of how our students could be impacted with entrepreneurship and how we could change their lives by changing their minds. So officially, no, but I think everything I do is extremely entrepreneurial.
Exactly. So, now, what led you to focus on the educational part of entrepreneurship in general?
So education, I fell in love with education first before I fell in love with entrepreneurship, to be quite honest. I think the power that us educators, administrators, or just in academia have to sort of help the future really find their way and sort of find opportunities and sort of mentor them through this process is extremely valuable. And to me, that was kind of addicting, right? How you could help people at this age, right? At an age that they could take control of their lives. Because sometimes if you say, I could guide a child in K through 12, right? Yes, you can. But at this age, you're able to guide them and them really making decisions that will impact the future. So that was sort of my first love. So I fell in love with education, academia, and sort of its potential. And then sort of, I've been in sort of the field of entrepreneurship and business startup for over 15 years, but I have to say the way we decide to foster the mindset here at Iona, it's very dear to my heart. And I had not really encountered the work like I'm encountering it now. So I could honestly say I fell in love with entrepreneurship and innovation at Iona.
Yeah. So, well, sometimes I can't believe that, it wasn't here before just because of the entrepreneurial, energy is on campus in general. Like, I feel like everybody that I see nowadays, has a side hustle that is, always grinding to do something, to start something. So I feel like it is very important for us to have this space on campus that we can just, venture out to and just go.
No, yeah, I think it's definitely a great resource to have in any campus, but I think it's more important to have it here at Iona because our students are really trained to change the world. And I think that is super important. And they don't realize sometimes that they're doing it, right? So, I mean, I have you two, for example, and when I first met you, Jordan, I mean, you kind of struggled with the idea of I'm an entrepreneur, right? With everything you do on the side, it was just oh, this is what I do and this is who I am. But you had not put that connection, right? And I think there's so many students in that same boat that it's you are doing so many interesting things,
Yes.
but you're not necessarily putting the connection of entrepreneurship and that side hustle or entrepreneurship and changing the world. Yeah. I mean, Huang, I know you're changing the world with your connects and that kind of stuff and what you're doing. And at a young age, it's kind of do you even have that list of clients that you do?
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes people just see, oh no, he's only 19 years old. He's only 20 years old. What impact could that 19, 20-year-old have? Well, they could have really big impact because of how they're doing and what they're doing.
Yeah, I definitely do believe you have a vision for that, 100%. You open people up to the thought of entrepreneurship in general. Like you said, I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur until I met you, and you were like, oh, this is what entrepreneurship is, and yeah, that's, I guess.
Right. It's about defining it for people. Sometimes it's hard to understand what it is. I mean, it sometimes it's just that typical connotation of, oh, I need to start a business. And many people are doing great things without having an actual storefront, right? Yes. That brick and mortar model is kind of obsolete right now. A lot of people have their business without really having a DBA or LLC, and they're doing a lot of things, right? So they don't need that traditional model to really execute entrepreneurship.
Being that coronavirus is a thing now, how do you see the world of education moving forward?
Iona has given students the opportunity for students to either be in class virtually or physically, allowing them sort of to make decisions for themselves, but also think about safety, right? Safety is priority. And many schools, need to go that way, but also allowing and being accountable for that educational piece. So just because it's happening virtually doesn't mean that the quality of our education is going down by any means. We just have to find creative and innovative ways to deliver our content and making sure that we are engaging our students every step of the way. And that's really what's important. We don't want our students to feel isolated, even though there's sort of this computer screen right in front of them.
Yes.
And then speaking about, being engaged, what kind of activities can students participate in at the Heinz Institute during these times?
So during these times, we are still offering all of our sort of programming in terms of e-talks, workshops. We are even hosting a hackathon, which is sort of a hacking competition, an idea hackathon, but everything now is virtual. So we, our e-talks, you could sort of attend e-talks, and we have 10 already scheduled for the semester. So it's exciting, and it's the most we've had any given semester. We have, 4 workshops scheduled in collaboration with the CEO, our student club, and, just activities. We even have co-working hours, even though it's not in our space because we have to think about safety and keeping the separation, but we still have all of these activities and programming available for students. So everything, it's a 24/5, and they could definitely just hit the link and register for the events. But if they need to come and make a one-on-one sort of meeting with any one of us, we're also available, whether via Zoom or in person. I am here for any advisement that needs to happen as well. So we're active. My team is active. Maybe we don't see each other every day just because of the situation, but we are active, and we are here to help and provide any service that the student need.
Yeah, and you guys also could follow Heinz on the social medias, that at Heinz Institute everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, on the YouTube channel is Heinz Institute for Innovation, and it's a podcast. So Lendy, thank you for being our guest today. You've given us so much knowledge and just wisdom, entrepreneurial wisdom. So
it's my pleasure. I mean, this is kind of what we all live for and enjoy doing every day. So I appreciate being a guest in the podcast today.
Yes. So today we're going to log off in English. So goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, we really working. Gale Ventures the spot. Bert and May got the podcast hot. We innovating, no debating, we creating. Ionavators in our lane, never hating. We just worry about us and what we do. Ionavation podcast show, get in tune.